Dear members of Social Work Fraternity, I welcome you all to first pre-conference lecture of Indian Social Work Congress that is to be held at Maulana Azad National Urdu University. It is an honor that Professor Brij Mohan, Dean Emeritus, School of Social Work, Louisiana State University, United States of America, is with us. Professor Brij Mohan will speak on pedagogy and social practice. Sir, on behalf of Maulana Azad National Urdu University, on behalf of our National Association of Professional Social Workers in India, we welcome you, and I'm really grateful that you have so kindly accepted our invitation to speak on this theme. You accepted our invitation to be the first person to initiate these pre-conference lectures. Professor Brij Mohan in the field of social work needs no introduction, but his academic journey is so inspiring that allow me, sir, to relish a bit of it by sharing some things about your academic career. Professor Brij Mohan started his academic career as postgraduate in social work from Dr. Bhim Rao Ambedkar University, Agra, India, and then moved on to University of Lucknow, where he did his PhD in 1964, and he did his PhD under the supervision of Professor Sayyid Zafar Hassan. And if I'm correct, sir, probably you must be the among first few of the initial batches, because University of Lucknow is the first university where first PhD program in social work was started.
By the way, I hold the first PhD in social work in the non-Western world.
That's great, sir. So that's the greatness. I think that's again an important, part of the history that the first PhD program in India started from the University of Lucknow. Professor Brij Mohan is not only the first PhD in India, rather the first from the non-Western world. And it again makes us feel proud that you are with us here. Professor Brij Mohan has written enormously, and his writings are really critical writings, the rare writings that we see in the field of social work, and his realm is spread right from debating the pedagogy of social work, what ails the profession, and what is needed in the contemporary times. He has written about 25 books, and at least I will advise through this program to our readers, young faculty members, to must read at least his Social Work Revisited, which tells us not only about the social work scenario in India and as also about the other world. He is equally critical about situation in India as well as the situation in America. His more recent book, The Future of Social Work, I think that is an eye-opening for all of us, what we are doing after such a long years of the profession, and to what extent we keep on talking that social work is one among the very young professions. Recently, in view of the post-COVID situation, he has again written a book, Rediscovery of Society, a Post-Pandemic Reality. So writings are enormous, and I can keep on taking the names, but I restricted myself to only these three books. Professor Brij Mohan has written more than 400 articles. And interesting part is that he is equally writing in journals like International Social Work, but he is also equally concerned about our country context, and that's the reason he keep on writing in Indian Journal of Social Work, in Perspectives in Social Work that the Nirmal Niketan publishes. So, sir, uh, uh, it's really an honor that you so kindly accepted our invitation, and it is probably in view of such a vast academic contribution, enormous contribution, that National Association of Social Work America recognized Professor Brij Mohan as a pioneer in social work. In our country context also, Mahatma Gandhi Kashi Vidyapeeth honored him by conferring on him D.Litt degree. Our own association, National Association of Professional Social Workers in India, conferred on him Lifetime Achievement Award in the 4th Indian Social Work Congress. Sir, we are happy that now we have reached from 4th to 11th Indian Social Work Congress. And I think as the first pre-conference lecture, you will set the tone for the 11th Indian Social Work Congress. I know the audience would like to listen you more, so I must stop here and request you to start your lecture. Thank you, sir.
I'm humbled and honored by your kind introduction. हाजरीन, मुद्दतें गुजरी और तेरी याद भी आई ना, मैं तुझे भूल गया हूँ ऐसा भी नहीं। तकरीर करना मेरी फितरत नहीं है, मैं तो पेशे से मुदर्रिस था, हूँ और रहूँगा। इस हवाले से मैं आप लोगों के सामने कुछ गुफ्तगू करने आया हूँ, और इसकी जो आपने मुझे दावत दी है, मैं उसका तहे दिल से शुक्रगुजार हूँ। आप लोगों ने जो टॉपिक चुना है कॉन्फ्रेंस का, उसकी अहमियत आज के माहौल में बहुत ज़्यादा है। अब मैं आपसे इजाज़त चाहूँगा कि मैं जो कुछ कहना चाहता हूँ अपनी बात कहूँ, और मैं इससे पहले कि मैं शुरू करूँ, मैं मौलाना आज़ाद उर्दू यूनिवर्सिटी का बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ कि आपने मुझे दावत दी, और ये मेरे लिए फ़ख्र और एक तहे दिल से शुक्रिया करने का मौका है। तो I've dedicated this brief presentation in memory of Dr. Zafar Hassan, who was my mentor, friend, and a philosopher, and I owe my career to him. If I had not met him, I probably would not have joined social work. Pedagogy and social practice, they're not two different things. They're congruent, and there is a symbiotic relationship. And if you see the textbooks, you will not find a definition what pedagogy is. So I made a very humble attempt to reflect my view about this whole area. Pedagogy is the art of imparting transformative awareness which builds cognitive, affective values, skills, and knowledge that help achieve a civil society. Social work march towards an egalitarian future is confounded by barriers and challenges that call for radical approach to rebuild faltering social institutions. Education for change is embedded in our democratic constitutional obligations. India's pluralistic culture, democratic governance, and civil obligations underscore the salience of humanities and social sciences, which promote social practice as a vehicle of national and universal transformation. The concept of social practice, as we are approaching it today, is not formally described to the best of my knowledge, but looking at the whole realm of this semiotic relationship between social work and pedagogy, I have found three areas which are extremely important. And these ideas emanate from three basic premises. First, the disappearance of work from a digitally deconstructed world which devalues human creativity and invents robotic hubris. You can write a book about these few words, but in brief, it has been for about 10 or 15 years that we have been hearing about digital revolution. Now we have reached at a point when computers have started thinking. They're hallucinating, and they believe when they talk to each other, they believe and they talk that they are superior power than human beings, because human beings are prone to errors, and these errors create horrors. So therefore, why don't we take over and substitute uh, human beings? So it basically devalues human creativity, and robotic hubris assumes an, a guiding framework or a hegemonic power over human creativity. This is a very significant departure in social work, social practice, whatever you may like to call. Secondly, it it redefines the nexus between social and political realities. Social work, as we know, uh, as medicalized it has become, it is not merely individual psychotherapy or talking or practicing casework. The political realities are so challenging and so demanding and so daunting that social has to be practical in the sense that we may realize the possibilities that stand as ideals for our profession. Lastly, this symbiosis reinforces the power of individual, communitarian, institutional, organizational structures of epistemic, behavioral, and cultural transformation without cultish dogmas of Western modalities of change. I'm saying so many things in the last point, and what um, um,
Friends, we are sorry that technology has somehow failed us and the Professor Brij Mohan got disconnected. We are trying to approach him, and now thanks to him that he has rejoined, but time is quite late. It is almost late in the night in Louisiana. So I request Professor Brij Mohan to give us a brief summary of what he all wanted to talk, and that would be, I think, would be a great message to us as social work educators and practitioners. That his message will help us a lot. So I request Professor Brij Mohan to provide a brief summary of his presentation.
in a very brief presentation, I've tried to convey to you the significance of pedagogy. Pedagogy, the way I see, is a vehicle of imparting knowledge, values, and skills for social change. Social workers are equipped with these skills and these elements of knowledge to 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 educate young people to implement the vehicles, the tools of innovation, which are inherently uh, modeled towards social change. Uh, as uh, as professions and disciplines came into existence after uh, enlightenment, or the age of reason, or the rise of science, or the birth of science, we started giving up our old superstitious notions, what I've called those flat earthers who could not see the whole reality of the world, uh, and science or scientific awareness established a cause and effect relationship which changed our way of looking at problems, at looking at human problems, social problems. That's how social sciences uh, came into existence. Social sciences did not come into existence immediately after Newton's law. they they were developed in the post-war era. In post-war era, we saw more crime, we saw more suicide, we saw more post-traumatic syndromes, as we call it, PTSD, etc., etc. And this brought to the attention of social scientists how to integrate the broken individual individuals. My contention is, like, an individual can be broken or alienated, society itself can be insane. And in order to rebuild a society, we have to have a system which has coherent values, which is found on not extremist partisan religious or fundamental views, but on certain secular universal civil values of a society, which help us achieve and establish civility, a moral civility which empowers you to rise against the oppression. And if you cannot rise against the oppression, there is no way you can implement conscientization, which is basically a tool of self-awareness to combat the forces of darkness, the forces of oppression, like colonialism, like slavery, like evils of caste system, and so on and so forth. And in your class, you cannot go and tell students, hey, what I'm saying is true. What you uh, are speaking, or it is nonsense. No. Pedagogy is a two-way process of learning from each other. I always go to my class and learn from my students. One of my very important books, uh, and that is this Unification of Social Work, and I spoke about this, and it is dedicated to my students, whom I credit for teaching me the art of discourse. And this art of discourse is the soul of pedagogy. If we don't know this, then we have no right to claim ourselves to be valid, legitimate instructors or professors. Professors who live in their armchairs, they are not going to bring any change. You are privileged to be in a profession which legitimizes your sense of revolt, your consciousness to throw the shackles of slavery by bringing your own sense of liberty, your own identity, your own bozud in a very chaotic world. If you can achieve this, you can say that your pedagogical methods are really true. And I often write about this. You know, it was Galileo who first said the truth. It is, it was he who the first time told people that it is the earth which is revolving. And for telling this, he turned Christianity upside down, to the extent that the flat earthers of that time punished him by death. And even when he was dying, he told people, it still moves. You can kill me, but the earth still moves. Equivalent of that in social sciences has not yet happened. The equivalent of that truth, that Galileo's truth was in social science, is man is free. We are free. We are not slaves. We are not dependent. There's no party. There is no hegemony of any ruling class or section which can oppress us, demean us. However, it has not yet been achieved. So the most important challenge today which humanity confronts is threefold. Either we will be killed by a nuclear holocaust. There are two wars going on in Ukraine and the other Gaza deserts. The other is climatic catastrophes. There are Afghanistan, 2,000 people died in the earthquake in Afghanistan, and nobody talks about them. About 4,500 people died in Morocco 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago in an earthquake, and the dam exploded, and no one knows how many thousands people died. We're not talking about that. We are talking simply about certain hegemonies of powers which represent a Zionist fascism, and uh, uh, there's no time or reason to be complacent. India is going through a very delicate transition from the Nehruvian Gandhian democracy to a very authoritarian democracy. And some people call that authoritarian democracy very anti-democratic. In other words, I'm going back. The pedagogy is a dialogical process. It is anything against this will be deemed anti-dialogical. It will not bring any transformation. It will not impart any knowledge which would be genuinely liberating. And in order to make us free from ourselves, make us free from the oppressive systems, we will have to tell the truth. And there is no better platform than teaching the kids what is really wrong with the society, what you should be aware of. That it's okay to get 100% marks in chemistry and geometry or artificial intelligence, but don't forget humanity, the humanity of science, which is your burden, which is the burden of the conscience of social work. I've been rhetorically telling the students for the last 20 years, social work should be an end of itself. People do not understand this. People are frightened what I'm doing, what I'm saying. I'm basically saying, if there are no man-made problems, why would you be needed? So work towards a system which is devoid of man-made problems. We were not made unequal by our destiny or by our horoscopes or by any religious scripture. We became unequal in a very unequal, dysfunctional culture in society. So why don't you fix it? And this cannot be fixed until unless we renew, revisit our social contract based on which the society was formed 10, 12, 20,000 years ago. The greatest invention, the greatest man-made invention was property. And Rousseau called it the man who took a piece of land and declared that piece of lot his property. He was the founder of the civil society. In other words, every root of human problem lies in our territoriality. We are ready to shoot each other, kill each other, destroy the human race just because of our territorial, pugnacious greed and human proclivity to dominate the weaker ones. So the weaker ones are already punished. So don't punish them anymore. Try to help them rise from the shackles of slavery, rise from the shackles of exploitation, whatever has been oppressing them. In other words, I see no other non-violent, peaceful, yet very effective view platform than teaching in the class. However, this teaching will disappear. It is disappearing already. Uh, Thanks to pandemic, everything was closed. Now the pandemic is over. Again, it was a man-made problem. It did not come from the heavens. The greatest danger that people are talking about is is coming from artificial intelligence. This artificial intelligence is premised on the notion that human beings are prone to errors, and since these machines have started talking among themselves, they are they are talking among themselves and telling each other that let's get rid of these human beings and let's improve them. Let's give a better deal by subjugating these people, by overriding these people, and bringing a new society. This new society, the whole idea of a new robotic, artificially engineered culture looks like a scientific fiction, but there are elements of truth. So let us take pride in our ability to teach young generation, because the future does not lie with you or me. Future lies how we raise, develop, and educate our children. Therefore, I've humbly dedicated this presentation to the future of your children, your grandchildren, my grandchildren. Thank you very much. I'm very grateful to your invitation, and I'm very humbled by the honor that you have given me to speak to you this evening.
Thank you very much, sir. And thank you also to reconsidering our request. And then, because that's the unfortunate part of technology, that it fails you when you need it most. And that's how the technology failed us. But you made it again to win, that the human mind is important and human humility is important
Thank you
to
so much.
redo the things. I think the social work educators, the students, they will take a lesson out of it. And the message that you have given, that we are in one of the best profession where we can really do a lot
Exactly.
to, redo of this dysfunctional, unequal society. And for that, the teachers themselves
Exactly.
have to come out of their own hegemonic social conditioning, and they have to challenge that. And
Exactly.
probably your this
Exactly.
lecture will help us to redo that, rethink on that. Sir,
See,
look
see,
forward. We wish you a long life. We wish
thank you.
that
Thank
keep
you.
on continuing listening to you. So thank you on behalf of my Department of Social Work, Maulana Azad National Urdu University.
Thank you.
I must say our association, National Association of Professional Social Workers in
Thank
India.
you, sir.
Thank you a lot. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
sir.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sure that this pre-conference lecture will set the tone of 11th Indian Social Work Congress 2023. Thank you.